Okay, so I'm Calia Schie, and I'm a senior producer on the World of Warcraft team.
So my name is Hazzikostas. I'm game director of World of Warcraft, and kind of been sort of overseeing some of the design calls for WoW Classic in particular.
So I currently play BFA, and I'm playing Classic now with our special Classic Alpha. I'm playing at the moment a hunter, an orc hunter.
Okay.
I like because I didn't play Classic originally, so learning about pet happiness and training pets and making sure all of that stuff works has been interesting to me.
So I've been playing the same orc shaman that I made in November 2004 since then.
Wow.
So it's been quite a journey. Obviously, various alts along the way. I've dabbled in both factions, but I think for Classic, we'll probably be recreating pretty much that same character.
Going shaman, my man.
Oh, I don't have a favorite. I can't pick a favorite.
Okay.
What would you say?
Okay, so it's almost impossible to choose. So raids. So dungeons. I'm going to say Stratholme. Both the live side, dead side split. You know, the sheer challenge and massive nature of the whole thing. Also the callback to Warcraft 3 when you saw it. You saw it being culled. Some little references to pieces of the city that you saw there. But I mean, I remember early on, people would refuse to go in with fewer than 10 to what was theoretically a 5-player dungeon because it seemed so daunting. That was like an awesome classic dungeon crawl. On the raid side, again, I'm going to cheat and pick 2 things. In terms of experience and memories, Molten Core. My first Ragnaros kill, no matter how many raid bosses I've killed since then, nothing was quite that impactful in terms of the holy crap, I can't believe we just did this. Like, my guild, I never imagined we would do this. We defeated the Fire Lord, and we're a real raid guild now, I guess.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
And then in terms of sort of the quality of the experience, Naxxramas. I think that was, kind of the beginning, I would say, of modern.
Didn't find it, right?
No, he's fine though.
No, it's not fine. Stop saying it's fine.
He always does this. It's fine. He'll come back. He can go outside. It's not a big deal. You're okay?
I know you always think things are fine. Like, I appreciate all I did. It's not fine. I'll go.
Okay, you go for it.
Raiding in WoW in a lot of ways. The fact the mechanics from that
Poor
raid
guy,
still
like,
held
Finn's
up
fine.
enough. Lich King.
Finn can
A
go
few
outside
years
and do
later,
Finn
it's a
things. He's fine.
testament to how ahead of its time it was.
He's worried though, yeah.
I just really enjoy it all. I find that it just inspires me. It brings back so much nostalgia, even though I didn't play Classic originally. Like, I've always heard similar themes, and so I don't have a favorite. It's hard to pick.
It's hard, yeah.
I'm going to say the relatively intense Shadowfang Keep music that was reused in Molten Core as you're going towards Magmadar for the first time. Where it's like when that kicks in,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, something intense is going down right now. The runner-up would be Ashenvale.
Oh, yeah.
And entering Ashenvale for the first time and just the like...
My man Ashenvale. There it is.
soothing, peaceful, tranquil notes. It was so utterly different from everything you'd seen before as an explorer.
For me, it was just so exciting because I had joined the team already when there were a few engineers on the team, so I already knew who some of the key people were going to be. And for me, that was a project manager's dream, to get to work with these iconic people who had both the technical acumen and the absolute passion to recreate this enormous project. So for me, that is a dream project, something that I'll remember for my whole career. So I remember exactly where I was. I was at work. I was at my desk, and I had a talk with some of our senior production staff where they asked me would I be interested in joining the team. And I mean, you can't even, I was just so excited. I was like, thank you for thinking of me. And then I got to meet Brian and Omar, were the 2 people I got to meet very shortly thereafter, and it's been a dream ever since.
This is a tricky question for me because there isn't really a moment.
Yeah.
It was more of a year-long journey of sort of making it happen, of exploring the logistics and convincing skeptics and providing a clear path forward to, we always wanted to do this. Something we wanted to do for years and years, but didn't see a clear way to make it happen given the massive logistical constraints of, hey, we have this really old piece of software that was made on 15-year-old hardware that wouldn't run on modern hardware. It's full of bugs, full of exploits, and it was literally tend
Listen,
to
you're all capping. I swear. For the longest time, I wanted Classic WoW forever. And I would like ask people, employees, and be like, hey man, you want class? Like they all wanted Classic WoW too. They all did too. But I think it actually was apparently like really tough. I don't know.
tens of thousands of hours of engineering time that had gone into, updating it over the course of making the game into what it is today. There's no way to just quickly recreate that. And then I think, large community
Find
outcries.
Finn. Oh my god, you're all gonna AIDS me down until we find Finn. Oh my god. Okay. In order to make Felix feel better. Sure. Because he was just in my room and just walked out.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Ah, we got him. You were causing problems here, Finn. You made life very difficult, did you not? My autism cat. It is. Who's a good boy? You're a good boy. Video.
Seeing the passion of the community around the desire for this project, I think galvanized
Go ahead.
our resolve internally to try to find a way to make it work. And then we explored different avenues, and once we settled on this approach with some prototyping of, hey, what if we instead of trying to recreate the tens of thousands of hours of engineering effort, took the modern client that worked and the modern server architecture that we knew was stable and solid, and just taught it to speak the old data and reconstructed the systems. And once we had that path, I think it was a few weeks of engineering prototyping time, seeing what came out of it, and realizing, hey, we can do this. And then, being involved in helping interview and select the folks that would make up the team. And then all of that leading up to the big announcement at BlizzCon. Like, we announced Classic uncharacteristically early for a Blizzard project at BlizzCon, partly because we were so excited that we wanted to share it with the world, right? We knew that we're going to get asked about, hey, so Classic WoW, what are you doing? We didn't want to be cagey or to lie because we knew we were making it. We knew it was ridiculously early. We had nothing to show in November of 2017, but we just wanted to let the world know, hey, this is going to be real. And that was the beginning of the journey that's led us to today and leading us to August 27th, this summer.
Here we go.
A lot. I would say a lot. I've learned a lot because I didn't play Classic originally, as I mentioned, and I had to learn a lot to come up to speed to, stand up with this enormous team that has been helping to develop this game. So I have really studied the community a lot. I did a lot of research, and what I like about our community is the passion and the fact that they are so vocal, because it really helped me come up to speed on where the issues were and what are the main touch points that we have to focus on in order to make this the most authentic Classic experience. So it's been
Just say it how it is, dude. We're fucking autistic.
Yeah,
say it.
Exactly.
We know
that.
it. It's fine. We accept it.
One of the interesting things
Whatever.
about working on this project from a design perspective is that so many of the calls are just objective and clear cut. The answer is, well, we're going to do it like it was back then. Then there is this subjective middle ground where there are different versions of a thing, or we have to make some tweak or some change. And there, having the community there to bounce our own instincts off of and to get feedback and to understand what's going to increase enjoyment or excitement, what's going to cause concern and frustration, to help guide us in our decisions, I think that's been just incredibly valuable throughout the entire development
But
process.
you're right. He does have a weird tan line
Getting
above his eyebrows.
Part of why we wanted to get
Sunglasses?
a BlizzCon demo last fall into being a take-home experience, so more people around the world could experience it and let us know and give us some early thoughts on, like, where do you think we're going the wrong way? What are some obvious jarring elements? What are some things that disappointed you? So we can do better, so we can make it the thing that everyone wants and that really our players deserve.
It's so encouraging for me to see, even in the, in our Blizzard Entertainment. I'm trying to think of things that people have called out specifically. I can't remember offhand, but we listen to all the feedback. I can assure you, from the community, from internal employees, we listen to everything, and we weigh it up.
it's a mix of bug reports and also just people basking in nostalgia, right? Like, I mean, I think when we put up the employee alpha, I want to say after the first long weekend, there were people who were already level 40.
Yeah.
No, exactly, right? It was one of those like, wait a minute, you guys realize we're wiping all of this in 2 months, right? But it just sparked a ton of conversation, right? There's so many memories. It's something that, the stories of many, if not most, of the people who work at Blizzard today pass through this game in some form, and so it's just a powerful thing that we are all cannot be more excited to revisit.
Call Ryan. I mean, he just called me and he didn't say anything. I thought he'd call me back.
So try to keep it a bit flexible. I think if you were going to ask
But
me
okay.
to just
Thanks for spamming,
ballpark
chat.
around a number, I would say for the first couple, probably around a couple of months. Part of it is we don't want people to feel ridiculously pressured to power level if they want to participate in the next steps. But it's something where we also don't want to lay out a rigid schedule ahead of time, because we want to remain flexible, looking at how the community is advancing. And if people aren't, people are still working their way through Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub, and only a handful of guilds feel like, okay, they've defeated Nefarian, and even then they still have tons and tons of gear that they want. We don't want to rush Encourage out and kind of undercut that experience if most players aren't ready for it. So I think I would say probably phase 1 to 2 would be one of the faster progressions, because I think we want to get Dharma out there, the beginning is the PvP system, a couple of world bosses, and then beyond that, it's going to just be watching how players are dealing with the content.
Interesting.
None so far. Genuinely, I think, as with anything, we'll see if there's if there's interest in some like elite dueling circuit in the long run. But I mean, I think, as with everything, I'd love to see what the community comes up with. I mean, really, the origins of esports themselves are a funny thing. It's one of the most community sourced endeavors generally. It's like, step 1 is make a game that has some kind of competitive element to it, and step 2, people will figure out who's the best. And so,
Wait, what did I missed all of this. What did you say? I actually missed it. Like, they're past the boring questions now. Do you foresee any potential esport involvement in Classic WoW?
Interesting.
None so far. Genuinely, I think, as with anything, we'll see if there's interest in.
Hey. Let's all calm down here. All right. There have been tournaments hosted. All right. And tournaments that even I have partook in, 1v1 tournaments, and they are fun. Now, will it be a good esport? No. But will there be tournaments? Yes. And will it be fun? Yes. If anything, I'll fucking host tournaments.
In some like elite dueling circuit
I don't care.
in the long run. But I mean, I think, as with everything, I'd love to see what the community comes up with.
There it
really,
is.
The origins of
Let's get it, baby.
esports
He knows.
themselves are a funny thing. It's one of the most community sourced endeavors generally. It's like, step 1 is make a game that has some kind of competitive element to it, and step 2, people will want to figure out who's the best. And so, it's a natural outgrowth of that. If we see players organizing dueling tournaments and 2v2 tournaments and 3v3 tournaments in Gurubashi, and there's tons of people tuning in, it's something we'd love to support as a scene philosophically. But again, I think when it comes to the classic experience as a whole, we also really want to respect the purity of that experience. And it would be more supporting something that grew out of it, rather than ever in any way changing or altering the nature of that experience to serve some modern purpose.
I think for now we're so focused on recreating this authentic experience for our classic, but as Ian says, we're always open to community feedback. Let's see what happens after this comes out. We're interested in what the community says.
I mean, I think we're always keeping an eye on how numbers and power grow there, but I think any decisions we make for Battle for Azeroth or World of Warcraft going forward are going to be more based on what makes sense for the players of that, and less about crossing over between the two. But I think certainly, as all of us have dove back into the classic alpha internally and are getting back into those systems, there are definitely some lessons to learn. about pacing, about differentiation within classes and specializations that I think are fascinating. Definitely can inform our design.
I truly hope
But
Classic
any
WoW
decisions
has
we
a
make
big
about
impact
Brazzers
on
are
retail.
gonna be with a BFA focus.
Oh my god, they're having a dance party.
Thank you for checking out this video,
That was
guys.
good.
If you
That was good. I think Classic might have a big impact on retail. I think it will.